In this video, we are going to discuss top 10 project manufacturing ERP systems in 2025. So let's dive right in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our #1 priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I'm principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent, vendor-agnostic technology advisory firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, any sort of enterprise software system selection, as well as change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is the top 10 project manufacturing ERP systems in 2025. And this list is very specific to project manufacturing. Sometimes there may be overlap with respect to your project manufacturing, and you might be producing a project as part of your machine division or the equipment division, but you may also have parts division, which may not be project manufacturing. But again, this list heavily emphasizes on the project manufacturing aspect of the system. So if you want to know whether other things are going to be included as part of those systems, and if they are going to be equally critical for you, then you need to pay close attention to the commentary as I touch each of the system on this list. So overall, the project manufacturing could be applicable to your discrete manufacturing or the process manufacturing. So some systems are going to support both. Some are going to be primarily focused on discrete or the processes. So pay attention to that. Overall, when you look at the project manufacturing, when you compare this with the engineer to order generally has very heavy front-end engineering involved. The way these products or projects are going to be quoted, estimated. For project manufacturing, you might not always have engineering component. For example, let's say if you look at the project manufacturing in the construction spaces, you might not have as much engineering, at least from the mechanical engineering perspective. You might have other processes. They might not be accommodated as part of the same ERP system, but they are still going to use ERP system. They are probably going to use project manufacturing ERP system. So that's where you need to pay attention. What is your business model? How are your estimation processes, and how they are going to fit with each of these systems? Sometimes the project manufacturing companies are also configured to order, but that may not always be the case, depending upon how your business model is, how you are processing your transactions. But in general, when you look at the project manufacturing space, in general, these are going to be very long standing projects. One of the critical success factor for this space will be the long lead time, the way your projects are going to be managed. Sometimes you want to plan a lot more in the pre-sale space because the timeline is going to be absolutely critical. Sometimes customers don't commit for these projects for a very long time, but once they commit, then they want it to be delivered yesterday, and that could be a lot of pressure in general. So that's why these companies plan a lot in advance. So that's where your milestone functionality, the way your costing is going to be, the way your approvals are going to be, the way you are going to recognize your revenue, the way you are going to accommodate your deferrals, all of these processes will be absolutely critical for a project manufacturing system that may not be as relevant for other systems. For example, if a system is designed for engineer to order, they might not care for all of these things, and that's going to be a real differentiation between a project manufacturing versus the other modes. So the criteria that we have used to compile this list is product share, acquisition strategy, focused on project manufacturing, product roadmap, community ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, investors, and now we are also putting a lot of value on AI-centric capabilities. For this year, it may not be as much. Maybe the next year, we are probably going to include a lot more because it's very early to comment at this point of time. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Rootstock. And Rootstock in general is positioned for SMB project manufacturing centered companies. And Rootstock does really well in the project manufacturing space. And the reason why it does really well is 90% of the project centric companies are also going to be very heavy CRM users, Salesforce users. And the reason why they are heavy Salesforce users is because in general, your deal size is going to be very long. It's going to be very long standing. So you are doing a lot more work in the sales process, in your estimation process before you start producing, manufacturing that. These are the processes that are going to be hosted as part of your ERP. So in general, these companies require very, very, very thick CRM processes. That's why Rootstock does really well, because Rootstock is positioned in the Salesforce ecosystem for product-centric companies. Some other strengths to keep in mind. Overall, when you look at the integration with the other Salesforce products, the other products on this list are also going to have that, but they are born in the Salesforce ecosystem. So obviously, they are going to be natural fit for Salesforce experience, Salesforce-centric processes. It can support very complex project and programs. A lot of other systems may be able to claim that they have project manufacturing capabilities, but the kind of projects or programs that they are going to support. Sometimes they might be able to link only one project as part of the code or one project as part of the order. So there is this linearity or one-to-one correlation between the objects. But when you are going to run a very complex project organization, you would require a lot more one-to-many centric relationships between these objects when you go from your opportunity to your code, to your order, to your project or programs, to your fulfillment. In all of these cases, you are going to require a lot more scalability in terms of the number of business objects that can be supported as part of the process, and Rootstock can support a lot of that. That's why they are really strong fit for the project manufacturing verticals. In some industries, for example, let's say if you look at the med device also, they do really well, which is where you are looking at large capex devices that these companies might be manufacturing. So they are going to require a lot more layers from the medical device perspective as well. And Rootstock has all of that. That's why, again, they do really well in the medical device centric spaces for project manufacturing. Some limitations to keep in mind: even though it is positioned for project manufacturing, you might need to take workarounds when you look at the milestone capabilities, revenue recognition, deferrals, even though they are able to support. But again, it's not as natural fit, at least as of today. They are working on those capabilities, and they might be released in the next few years. But as of today, they don't have as strong milestone centric capabilities, WBS centric capabilities. And the multi-entity capabilities, even though they have those, but they might not be as natural to what you might be used to of seeing, just because the Salesforce model is very constraining. The way Salesforce is designed, for the most part, Salesforce was designed for more of the sales organization, so they don't have the same natural fit for the financial organization, the way financial organizations are structured. So there's a little trade-off there with respect to their multi-entity capabilities, even though they can support all of that. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Dalmia Works, or IQMS. And IQMS does really well in those aerospace and plastic centric verticals. They can support complex projects as part of their model, and they are going to be natural fit for the spaces where the companies are going to be heavy users of SolidWorks, just because there is a natural synergy, and these two products are owned by the same organization. So you are going to find a lot more synergy there. The limitations that you are looking at from the Dalmia Works perspective, overall, it's not going to be as diverse. Some other systems that we have on the list, they might be able to support a lot of other modes other than project manufacturing. With Dalmia Works, you might be limited in that. The ecosystem is going to be limited, and their technology is also very legacy. Other systems on this list, including a lot of legacy vendors, for example, QAD, have started rewriting their entire code base. With Dalmia Works, IQMS, still very legacy. So that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is Acumatica. And Acumatica is going to be a fit for SMB project manufacturers with very complex business models. For example, if they are going to have distribution centric scenarios or field service centric processes, if they need to consolidate all of that as part of the same database, same model, that's where Acumatica is probably going to be a great fit. Overall, the way their bombs and project layers are designed, they are very scalable in general from the project manufacturing perspective. But where you are going to run into challenges when you look at those complex projects, complex programs, the model is designed for very simple projects. So if you have very simple project manufacturing, then Acumatica may be a great fit, but not necessarily for complex programs where other products, for example, if you look at IFS, even rootstock is probably a better fit. In those cases, Acumatica may not be the best fit. Some other things from the project manufacturing perspective, in general, these projects are going to be very complex. The kind of bombs they are going to have, the kind of sub-assemblies they are going to require, as well as the phantom support that the majority of the project manufacturers are going to require is going to be very deep. So that's where your Acumatica is probably going to be a great fit. It has a model that can support a lot of those scenarios. They might not be able to support for every single industry or use cases, but it does have very deep support for all of that. And again, the hybrid business model, when you are looking to host as part of the same database, same model, without going to another database and isolating these two models, if you're looking for those synergies as part of the same database, same model, then Acumatica is probably going to be a great fit. Some limitations to keep in mind. Overall, the global capabilities are limited. So if you are trying to consolidate global workloads, for those, it's probably not the best fit. The last mile manufacturing capabilities may be weaker than some of the other products that we have on this list. And the process manufacturing, in some cases, the project manufacturers also are going to require the process manufacturing capabilities. If you have that, then with Acumatica, you are probably looking at add-on. Other products may be able to support as part of the same model. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. And Business Central product is very comparable to Acumatica. Business Central is going to have far broader global exposure in general compared to Acumatica, but it's going to be leaner with its sort of the project manufacturing capabilities as well as the manufacturing capabilities. The model is very lean, and that's where it is going to rely on a lot of different add-ons. So some of these trends to keep in mind is the global financial capabilities, strong underlying layers for many different verticals. For example, let's say if you're going to be in food and beverage, service-centric spaces, that's where you are going to have a lot of different projects that you are going to deliver as part of your business model. In the med devices space as well, let's say if you have a consulting company, service company, that's where you are going to do a lot more project manufacturing. Sometimes they have inventory, sometimes they don't have inventory. So depending upon how your processes are designed for these verticals, the underlying layers that you are going to have with Business Central, they are supported as part of the product. But for the actual last mile capabilities, you might require add-ons. And overall, for the project manufacturing centric industries, you are going to have very thick approval processes from the procurement perspective, and Business Central was always designed for that. So you are going to have very strong workflows for all of that. Now, limitations to keep in mind is overall manufacturing capabilities are going to be weaker. You will require a lot of add-ons, so that increases your vendor as well as the implementation risk. And then suite capabilities will be limited as well. So that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. Oracle Cloud ERP is much larger product compared to your Business Central or Acumatica. It is designed for those larger companies when they care for financial capabilities a lot more than your operational capabilities, when they are trying to accommodate a lot of different business models and trying to host all of them as part of the same model, same database. If they are doing that, then Oracle Cloud ERP will be a better fit. So strengths overall in terms of the global financial capabilities, the ecosystem is going to be very strong. They can support very complex projects and products. But again, the last mile capabilities are not going to be there. The kind of last mile capabilities that you can find with some of the other operational products that we have on this list. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is SAP S/4HANA. SAP S/4HANA is a very similar product as your Oracle Cloud ERP. So this is also going to be applicable for companies that are consolidating very global workloads containing many different business models other than your project manufacturing, and looking for those global financial capabilities. For those, SAP S/4HANA is going to be a great fit. But for the operational capabilities, the plant level capabilities, you are looking at other add-ons or third-party products. So overall, SAP S/4HANA has been proven for very large workloads, larger project manufacturers. If you are very large, trying to accommodate many different business models, then this could be a great fit. Again, the weaknesses are going to be very similar to your Oracle Cloud ERP. The last mile manufacturing capabilities are not going to be as strong. You are probably going to require a lot of add-ons IP for it to work for the project manufacturing scenarios. And again, you are not going to have as deep suite capabilities, pre-integrated capabilities, what you are going to find with other prescriptive products. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Appicore Kinetic. And Appicore Kinetic does really well with the SMB project manufacturing companies. Appicore Kinetic does have deep project manufacturing WBS-centric capabilities that might not be available with some of the other products. For example, let's say if you look at Rootstock or Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline, overall they are going to struggle with their WBS or milestone-centric capabilities. And that's where Appicore Kinetic has done really well in some of the construction-centric verticals as well, where you are going to require much deeper milestones, much deeper WBS-centric processes, even though it is not going to be as strong from the WBS perspective. When you compare this with, for example, Microsoft Dynamics F&O, they are far deeper overall in their project-centric capabilities, project manufacturing-centric capabilities, but Appicore Kinetic will be much deeper with their complex inventory processes or formalized manufacturing processes. In those cases, Appicore Kinetic does really well. So for some industries, Appicore Kinetic is going to be a great fit. Even within the project manufacturing industries, there are going to be many industries for which Appicore Kinetic may not be the best fit. So that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite LN. And Infor Cloud Suite LN is going to be a great fit for global project manufacturing companies when they are trying to consolidate a lot of workloads from the project manufacturing perspective globally. So it does have the global capability that might not be available with the smaller products. For example, when you compare this with Appicore Kinetic or Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline, so it is going to have much deeper global trade capabilities when you are going to have operational synergies between your global entities. So some strengths to keep in mind. Overall, the manufacturing capabilities are going to be one of the strongest. The suite capabilities that you are going to get as part of Infor Cloud Suite LN are going to be much stronger. But again, the limitations would be that it cannot be used as more of the financial ledger. If you are going to use that, you are not going to get the real value from the product because it's much deeper operationally as opposed to financially. So depending upon what your use case is, if project manufacturing is going to be your priority, then Infor Cloud Suite LN is probably going to be a great fit, and that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is IFS, and IFS does really well among global project manufacturers just because it can support very complex projects and programs. It's designed for some of the project-centric organizations that are not going to be natural manufacturers. For example, when you compare this with Infor Cloud Suite LN, Infor Cloud Suite LN does really well in the manufacturing-centric projects, it might not be as great fit for other project-centric organizations. For example, let's say if you look at some of the industries such as your utility, energy, or construction, if you are going to have all of those flavors, IFS is a great fit for all of these industries. So it can support a lot more overall with respect to the project types, product types, the kind of synergies you are going to have between projects. But Infor Cloud Suite LN may not be the best fit there. So the strengths are the diversity of the different project and program types that IFS is able to support. Some limitations to keep in mind is if you are pure play project manufacturer, then you will find a lot more value with products such as your Infor Cloud Suite LN. IFS is going to be limited in terms of its suite capabilities, what all it can support. So that's where you are going to spend a lot more with respect to your consulting effort. So that's number 2. Number 1 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. And Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O, or Finance and Supply Chain, is the new name for this product from Microsoft. And it is very comparable to your SAP S/4HANA or Oracle Cloud ERP. In general, it does well in the larger organizations, but for the most part, they are using it for the financial ledger. They are not necessarily using the product for the plant level processes or the subsidiary level processes. For those, they might either use add-ons or third-party products. So overall, the depth is not comparable when you look at the installations of Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O among project manufacturers. But in general, the way the Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O product is designed, it was always very strong with those WBS-centric processes or the project-centric processes. So it can support a lot of different approval flows. They are going to be much easier for the project managers compared to other products. And the kind of workflow-centric processes that you can build on the other Microsoft stack, in general, when you look at the project manufacturing space, Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O product is very well penetrated, just like your rootstock. And the reasons are very similar why rootstock does really well in this space and why Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O does really well. Even though, as part of the core, you might not have as much last mile functionality that you are going to find with products such as your IFS Infor Cloud Suite LN. But overall, it's a natural fit, and that's why it is number 1 on our list. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to include a detailed report that is going to have much deeper insights. So you might want to check that. We publish these videos on a weekly basis every year. So if you don't want to miss those, you might want to hit subscribe button on our YouTube. And this podcast is also available in the audio form on major podcasting channels. So you might want to check that. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.